experience a world of choice. And Automotive Art Cayman, your car, our passion.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning, Cayman, and welcome to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and I'm kind of excited about this segment because I think it's a very important topic for us to be discussing. One, this is all about careers and preparing our youth for the future, and we know we've had a little bit of discussion focused on that for 2025. I have more discussions kind of focused around this topic that's going to be happening throughout the summer, so I'm happy to kind of kick off the focus on this with my two guests this morning. So I'd like to say good morning to my guests, Christina Bodden and Kelly Sage. Both are from Career Masters. So good morning, ladies.
Well, thank you so much, Kathy, for having us. It's so exciting to be here. Congratulations on your show. It feels like we're kind of home again. We love coming on Radio Cayman. We love the audience, and we're very proud to be here to be talking about our wrap-up of year one of Career Masters.
And congratulations to you for your inaugural year. So it's
Thank
a pretty
you.
Amazing accomplishment. I know it must feel good to you.
Oh, it does. It really does. We're so, we accomplished a lot in the first year. A lot of it was experimental in terms of how we were going to present such an immersive program to the students. But when I look back on the year, I could not be prouder of those students. I could not be prouder of our teachers that we partnered with, our sponsors, our stakeholders, our backers, our fantastic relationship with our ministries. I could not be happier. When I'm sitting down and I'm kind of drafting out year two of Career Masters and kind of what we'll do, we're going to take on some additional schools and we'll talk a little bit about that. But in terms of just sitting back and looking back at the year, I'm very, very proud of what we did, and I'm very proud of our students.
Well, congrats again. Now,
Thank you.
tell us exactly what is Career Masters all about? What inspired this nonprofit?
So for those of you who know me, I've been doing youth programming for well over a decade. I was previously with 100 Women in Finance, and that's kind of where I started. And at the time, we wanted to do something in the community which would be youth focused and youth mentoring based. And so at the time, I went to the Ministry of Financial Services at the time. And I said, I have this idea about going into the schools and actually spending a couple of months just canvassing our teachers and finding out what are the threads that you're seeing across. At that time with 100 Women in Finance, it was female students. What are the common threads that you're seeing? And we did that. We did that back in 2015. We sat down with teachers from Clifton Hunter, from John Gray, from Cayman Prep at the time, and we just sat down and said, what are the things that you're all commonly seeing? And it was lack of confidence. It was self-esteem. It was, issues with bullying in the schools. It was a lack of direction. And I tell this story a lot. I remember talking to John Clark, who's the principal of John Gray High School, who I have so much admiration for. And he said, Christina, if you can develop a program that helps one student here move forward with a career post-high school, then you would have done really well. And I remember thinking, so what I'm hearing from these teachers is we need something that boosts self-esteem. But more importantly than that, I think in this generation, it's very, very difficult to kind of focus your mind on exactly what you want to do. Because like when I was coming up, you had maybe 3 choices, which kind of in a way is almost a luxury now because you only have to choose one of 3 things. When you have all of the social pressures that our young people have, and then you also have the buffet of things that you could conceivably do, and then you have, there's a lot of things going on in their lives that I have to say I don't think we necessarily had to deal with. You need something that's going to help you shape what you want to do. And so from back in Girl Force 100, we would talk about, tell us what you like, tell us what you're good at, tell us the things that you are more drawn to. And kids would say, I really like math, I'm not so great at English. Okay, well, here are some of the careers that we can show you that you might enjoy. And it was always about exposure and opportunity year after year after year. And we ended up placing so many girls in scholarships and so many female students in internships. And it was just, it really goes back to the saying, if you can't see it, you can't be it. And so the more and more traction that the program got, the more and more opportunities we were able to offer these young women. So after a number of years, what really began to be heavy on my mind was the fact that we needed to do the same thing for our young men. And so I'd been with 100 Women in Finance for a number of years. It was time for me to step down. I felt I had contributed, I think, quite a lot over the years. And so I ended Girl Force 100 in June 2024 with a very, very clear goal as to what I wanted Career Masters to be. I wanted Career Masters to be all students. I wanted it to be cross-school. So I want, my heart is always going to be with John Gray and Clifton Hunter. But I wanted to ensure that we mirrored the working world that they would be going in with the formula that I was putting together. And so we have students from Cayman Prep, we have students from St. Ignatius, we have students from CIS, we have students from Lehman Scott. It's been fantastic to incorporate the BRAC. And so Career Masters focuses on the gaps that are between high school, tertiary education, and work placement. And I know that you're probably hearing a lot on your show about placing young people in work opportunities. And that is a real issue. I'm sure you'll be talking about it all summer. I'm sure you'll be talking about it for the rest of the year because it is real. One of the things that we've done recently over our Career Masters year was host the King's Trust International when they came to Cayman, because they look at youth employment and the issues of placing young people into employment from a global level. But that specific team that came to Cayman, and I have to thank the King's Trust International Cayman delegates, Tony Cowell and Greg Brooks, for making that introduction to us. They look at it at a regional level. And so they were very interested to come and talk to us and a number of stakeholders throughout government and private sector about what can we do to break down some of these barriers. And so for Career Masters, it's very formulaic. And when I'm sitting here on your show today, all I'm doing when I look at year 2 are adding different elements to the program because the formula works. It's almost like our careers, Kathy. You have workplace readiness training. So you are learning how to apply for a scholarship, how to apply for an internship, how to draft your resume, how to conduct an interview where you really shine, That is your module 1, and it's 3 months. And that is a very immersive classroom style learning, right? The second module is really what I wanted to see in year 1, whether that would work. Because what I was doing was, for example, you are working at Radio Cayman. You have projects, you have proposals, you have things that you have to do all the time, and you guys have to come together as a team. And sometimes one person might have another approach or another person might have another idea. And so what I wanted to do in Module 2 was take students from John Gray with students from Clifton Hunter, with students from CIS, with Cayman Prep, and give them specific objectives. So one set might have to come up with a business plan and pitch it to local business owners. Another group might have to have a list of community challenges, and they choose one, and then they work on a proposal together. Another group might be working with local MPOs. I mean, we're a big program. We were over 100 kids. And so it's not exactly the task that they were doing, but what I was showing them was you can work in a group with people who might have different approaches or views or backgrounds or what have you, but as a group, come together and complete an objective. So maybe one person is really great at graphics. Maybe another person is really great at doing the presenting. Maybe someone else does research. But how do you as a team pull forward? And that went spectacularly well. I was so proud of the kids, some of whom did not even know each other before they were paired together, and how well they completed business plans, which I was blown away by, whether it was car washes or whether it was, eco growing or whether it was regenerative farming or whether it was, I think another one was a go-kart park, but these were all viable business ideas that they all came up with together. The community challenges one I thought was fantastic. They had such views of conviction on mental health, on the environment, on traffic, on how social issues should be viewed by government. And I thought to myself, what an amazing generation to be able to be put in a scenario like this with people from other backgrounds and say, hey, we all kind of feel the same about how we would approach this, and let's do a proposal on it.
Well, to get the understanding or the lens from that lens of perspective from the youth about social issues that we are very much dealing with in our generation.
Yes.
You know what I mean? A couple generations older than them, but these are the things that we're facing. So to have them pitch in and understand and also give their perspectives, I think it's so eye-opening.
Oh, yes.
It does show what they are affected by.
And to be
I think
honest,
that's a great initiative. That's part of your program.
and that's really the magic of the program right there, because we want to ensure that our students understand how to work in a team.
Yes.
It's so important. No matter where you are, no matter where you work, can you work in a team?
Real life scenario.
Real life scenarios. And so we very closely watched that module. It went really well. And then you build on top of that, and then we placed every single one of our students in a work placement, whether it was a summer internship, whether it was a short-term work placement. We paired all of them with business mentors. And then we completed the program when we graduated them at a career conference that we held at Hotel Indigo in June. And I could not have been prouder of those kids, because that was, number one, it's a very immersive program. It's kind of like doing an executive leadership course while you're doing your school. But all of them had demonstrated so much growth and so much maturity over the program. And that was the objective that I had in my head. I wanted them to come out different than when they were going in, ready for the workforce. Because when I look at, turning back to social issues for a moment, at work placements, you have to ready, I think, our youth for the industry that they are moving into. Yes. They have to, it is competitive. It's competitive everywhere.
And the industries that are emerging. That is a huge key point.
And it's so interesting, Kathy. It used to be everybody wanted to be a lawyer or an accountant, or they wanted to go into tourism or anything, but not anymore. People want, these kids are interested in tech. Some of them are very interested in real estate. Some of them are very, very interested in healthcare. Healthcare was huge this year. Yeah. You'll always have, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be an accountant. But what I thought was even more interesting was that, you have your big firms on the island. But I had a lot of kids saying, okay, well, I'm not particularly interested in being a lawyer and accountant, but what else can this firm offer me? What other career paths are there? And our firms really, really stepped up and were able to say, well, we have secretarial programs, we have, accounting departments, we have marketing departments, and marketing is so huge with a lot of these kids because it's communications. Yeah. And, all of the firms could come forward and say, we actually have an array of career choices, and let us show you what they are. And I was incredibly proud of all of our stakeholder firms. I've worked so long with Maples, who are always supporting this program, all of the programs that I've done, but we're really very, very keen on Career Masters, because we want to, and I'm part of our early careers committee, we want to develop a succession pipeline. Right? That's what all firms want to do. We want to ensure that we are putting in place people that can grow and develop over time and take over senior positions. And so by having the exposure, by these kids having the exposure to what the firms could offer, was just an invaluable resource for the firms, so that they can see, wow, so we have someone here that's interested in IT or tech. We have someone here who's interested in accounting. We have someone here who's interested in communications. We have someone here who's interested in law. And it's so different from the way that it used to be, in the fact that this program shows these students as many career options as we possibly can over the course of the year. And when they leave the program, they are ready as they can be at that age, to deal with interviews, scholarships, tertiary education, early entry workforce, vocational training, I think to the best of their ability. Now that we've placed our students, we're already getting emails back saying, we really enjoyed working with so-and-so. We'd like to offer them a scholarship. We'd like to offer them an internship. That was the point.
Right. And that must feel great knowing that you've made that connection happen.
Fantastic. I'm not changing a thing about this formula. I know that it works.
I want to get more into the formula, hear more about how you kind of came up with it, figured it out, and knew that, okay, this is what you're going to apply. We've got to go to a commercial break right now, but when we come back, we'll hear more about that formula.
This is an announcement for shareholders of Cayman National Corporation Limited. Republic Financial Holdings has made a cash offer of $7.75 per share for the purchase of the remaining minority shareholdings of Cayman National. The offer is open until 5 p.m. Cayman time on July 29th. Shareholders are reminded to review the offer and submit their form of acceptance to offers at rfhl.com if they wish to accept the offer. For any questions, shareholders can reach out to Republic Financial Holdings at offerquestions@rfhl.com.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Cruise into summer with expert service from Automotive Art Cayman. More than a retail store, it's your one-stop auto care shop. We offer paint, detailing, accessories, wheels, Yamaha parts and products, batteries, tire repairs, tire changes, and more. Need top-tier shine and protection? Grab Gliptone detailing gear, Chevron synthetic oil, and Axiom car care kits. Get expert service with premium products all under one roof. Wherever you cruise, make your pit stop at Automotive Art first. Find us on Shedden Road and follow us at Auto Art KY on Instagram and Automotive Art Cayman on Facebook.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I am your host, Kathy Miller, and we are talking and finding out all about Career Masters, which they have just finished their first year as a nonprofit. And in studio, my guests are Christina Bodden and Kelly Sage. And Christina gave us a great intro into what Career Masters is and what inspired the formation of the nonprofit. And she was telling us about a formula, basically, that's part of their program. So the program is broken down into 3 modules. And it's a certain formula that she's created this program under. And as she said right before the break, this formula is working. And so I want to hear a little bit more about this formula. I know you told us about the very first part, right?
Yeah.
But how did you figure out that this was the right formula? What inspired you to use it? Were you given info? How did this come about?
Well, a lot of, number one, I didn't invent this, right? I didn't invent classroom style learning. I didn't invent working in a team. But I think it's the approach that we took. I think having a very strong set of values is very important. I think it's students feeling a sense of pride when they are involved in something is very important. And I think it's them understanding. And we had a lot of discussions with the students at the very beginning about this. And we asked them, what do you hope to achieve out of Career Masters? And it's amazing. It's always amazed me since I've been doing youth programming, the answers that you get from students when you say, what do you hope to achieve out of this program?
What are the answers?
The answers are so fantastic, Kathy. I know grown adults that wouldn't be able to answer a question like that. They say, I'd like to be a better communicator. I'd like to have a better relationship with my teachers. I'd like to improve my grades. I would like to learn more about tech because I'm very interested in a career in tech. Sometimes students say to us, I'd like to learn to be a better friend, or I'd like to learn to say things in a way which people understand. And those may sound like just one-word answers, but they're very, very deep to hear from a teenager.
Yeah.
Because what they're basically saying is, I want to learn to communicate better. I want to learn, how to behave in a professional sense. I want to learn how to be heard. And that's how I hear that when I read that. And so the thing that I think has made Career Masters very unique is we begin with foundational learning, but at the time that foundational learning is coming, when we work with Dr. Sherry Smith at Life Options, who is just fantastic when it comes to how you build a scholarship application, how you build an internship application, how you conduct an interview with someone, because you can have a very average application, but you can go in and knock it out in an interview.
Right.
And it's a lot of it is about personality. And when you're dealing with young people who sometimes struggle with confidence, you have to be able to hone that in them, and you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again. And I really noticed at the Future Flex conference, the students who had come in very, very shy, sitting incredibly professionally at tables and speaking with people who were attending the conference in a very confident, mature manner. And I knew that was the progression of the year that had done that. But I think, in Module 1, we're not only going through the drills of how do you put these things together in an impressive way. I am also constantly saying, these are the values of this program, right? It is self-belief. It is self-direction. It is not, if you are going to have a career, it is what you are going to do. There's no self-doubt in your mind. It's very much a positive mindset. And it's very much a shift in mindset, because I think our young people can go in many directions. And what Career Masters does is it builds a uniform mindset amongst our young people that you will do the best in your life